All right, so today we're going to jump into something pretty interesting I think a lot of church leaders are thinking about,
Yeah.
which is this whole idea of digital and physical touch points
Mm-hmm.
and how to really make them work together
Yeah.
to create this thriving church community.
Right.
Um, and so we're looking at this document called Share and Manage Touch Points.
Okay.
It might sound kind of dry like a marketing, document,
Yeah.
but it's got some really interesting insights for churches.
I think so too.
And the coolest thing is it uses this case study of a donut shop.
Oh, fun.
It's called Danny's Donuts.
Okay.
And I know donuts in church might seem like totally different things,
Yeah.
but stick with us because the way that Danny connects with her customers has some really brilliant takeaways for churches like yours.
I love that it's a relatable example that people can really kind of wrap their minds around.
Exactly.
It's something we can all relate to. We all love donuts.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating to see how these principles can apply in a totally different context, like a church.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is the document really highlights, how important these touch points are.
Yes.
It's like every single moment of connection you have with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're on your website or liking something on social media,
Right.
or actually, at a service on Sunday morning.
It's making every interaction count,
Exactly.
whether it's online or offline.
So it's not just about having a website or a Facebook page. It's about being really intentional
Yeah,
with how you're using those things.
absolutely.
So I'm kind of curious, what are some of the tactics that Danny's Donuts used?
Okay.
And how could a church take those ideas and kind of translate them,
Right.
into their context?
So Danny uses a lot of different things.
Okay.
One thing that she does is she uses these custom bit.ly links on her social media.
Okay.
So instead of just like a general link to her website,
Yeah.
she'll create these targeted landing pages. Okay.
So she'll have one for events,
Yeah.
maybe a promotion,
Got it.
or even just a page with frequently asked questions.
Well, that's smart.
And I think churches could totally do the same thing.
Yeah.
Think about it. You could share a link to your upcoming sermon series,
Huh?
a sign-up form for volunteers, or even a digital connect card
Yeah.
where visitors can easily share their information.
That makes it so easy.
Right.
Just like one click and they're there.
Exactly. It's removing those barriers
Yeah.
and making it super simple for people to take that next step.
I love that. And then another thing that I thought was really cool was how she uses QR codes.
Oh, yeah. QR codes are so versatile.
Yeah.
She puts them on stamp cards and receipts,
Okay.
sometimes for exclusive deals or to direct customers to online resources.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, what would that look like in a church?
Yeah.
You could put a QR code right on your bulletin
Okay.
that links to your sermon notes
Oh, that's smart.
so people can follow along.
Yeah. Or maybe at your welcome table, have a QR code that takes them to a video
Okay.
that shows all the different ministries in your church.
I like it.
You could even use them to simplify giving.
Yeah.
Make it easy for people to donate electronically.
So instead of passing the offering plate, they could just scan a code and give right from their phone.
Exactly.
It's like modernizing the whole experience.
It's about meeting people where they are and
Yeah.
creating that seamless experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that phrase, seamless experience.
That's what we're going for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes,
It can be clunky.
it can be clunky and awkward,
Yeah.
but she's really used it in a way that makes things flow.
Right. And it feels natural.
Yeah.
And it's not forced.
It's
It's
easier.
just a natural extension of the customer experience.
And I think it's important to remember that, all these tools are great,
Yeah.
but building a strong online community isn't just about
Right.
fancy tactics or whatever.
It's about more than just the tech.
Yeah. It's about creating a sense of belonging
Absolutely.
and encouraging people to genuinely connect with each other.
Yes.
Just like Danny creates a space for people to
yeah.
share their love for donuts.
Right.
Churches can use social media to create a platform
Uh-huh.
for meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
share inspiring content, ask questions,
Yeah.
maybe even do a live Q&A with a pastor or something,
I love that. Yeah.
make it interactive.
It's not just a one-way street.
Right.
It's about dialogue.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned something before about how Danny uses this link in bio landing page.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So she uses that as like a central hub
Okay.
to direct her customers to different things, like her
Okay.
menu and location,
Cool.
customer testimonials, upcoming events.
That's smart.
It's all right there.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking churches could create something similar, like a one-stop shop for everything.
Uh-huh.
Online giving sermon archives, small group signups.
Makes it so easy.
All in one place.
Yeah.
Easy to find.
That would be such a valuable resource.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all these different tools
Yeah.
and how to use them effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the next piece of this is like, okay,
Yeah.
how do we actually use data
Right.
to understand what's working
Yeah.
and make sure we're actually connecting with people?
Data-driven insights.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to dive into
Okay.
in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
So before the break, we were talking about all the cool things that Danny's Donuts is doing and how churches can kind of, learn from that.
Yes.
And you mentioned data-driven insights.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people get kind of like,
Overwhelmed.
yeah, overwhelmed,
It can feel like a lot.
Yes.
Especially if you're not a tech person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how can churches actually use data to make good decisions
Right.
about all these things we're talking about?
Well, I think the key is to remember that
Yeah.
data can be really valuable,
Okay.
just like it was for Danny.
Yeah.
Remember, she was using Bitly analytics to track how her campaigns were doing?
Uh-huh.
Churches can use similar tools
Okay.
to track things like website traffic,
Okay.
social media engagement,
Got it.
even email open rates.
Oh, wow.
And it's not about getting bogged down in like all these numbers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what's working.
Yeah, what's resonating?
Yeah. What are people actually responding to?
So for someone who's not, a tech expert,
Right.
where do you even start?
Right. Well, I think you just start with a few key metrics.
Okay.
So let's say you're promoting an event on social media.
Okay.
Pay attention to which platforms are driving the most traffic
Got it.
to your registration page.
So is it coming from Facebook or Instagram? Or our church's, email list?
Exactly.
Right.
That tells you where to focus your energy.
So it's like identifying the pathways
Yes.
that are actually leading people to take action.
The digital pathways
Yeah.
are actually working.
And what about website stuff?
Yeah. Website analytics can be super helpful.
Okay.
You can see which pages are getting the most views.
Uh-huh.
So let's say your sermon archive is getting a ton of traffic.
Okay.
Maybe make that more prominent on your website.
Got it.
Or create more content around your sermons.
Okay.
Or maybe people are always visiting your small group page.
Okay.
That might be a sign that you need to expand your small group offering.
So it's like you said, it's like a feedback loop.
Exactly.
It's constantly giving you information about what people are interested in.
And then you can adjust your approach.
Yeah.
Based on that data.
Yeah. You can tailor your content and everything
Absolutely.
to what you're seeing.
It's all about being responsive to your community.
I like that. So we've talked about data in terms of tracking what's working. But what about personalization?
Oh, yeah. That's a great point.
Do you remember how Danny's Donuts was using personalized URLs for advocacy?
Yes.
I kind of forget how that worked.
Okay. So let's say one of Danny's customers was super passionate about supporting local farmers.
Okay.
Danny could create a unique URL
Okay.
that linked directly to a page
Okay.
where people could donate to a farmers market initiative.
Got it.
And then that customer could share that link with their network and basically turn them into advocates for that cause.
So it's like word of mouth, but amplified to link.
It's like word of mouth on steroids.
Yeah. Okay. So how would a church do something like that?
Well, let's say you have a church member who's really passionate about your youth ministry.
Right.
You could create a personalized URL for them.
Okay.
That links to a donation page specifically for the youth program. Or maybe a page highlighting upcoming youth events.
Got it.
And then they can share that with their friends and family and become an ambassador for that ministry.
So it makes it more personal.
Yeah.
And it helps them feel more connected.
Exactly.
To the impact they're making.
It's about empowering people to share their passions.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about outreach and engagement during the week.
Yeah.
But what about Sunday morning?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
How can we use these tools to actually make the Sunday experience better?
Well, think about QR codes.
Okay.
You could have a QR code in your bulletin that links to the sermon notes.
Yeah.
So people can follow along.
That'd be great for visitors.
Oh, right.
Or people who are hard of hearing.
Exactly.
They can read along on their phone.
Yes.
And then what about that awkward moment when you're like, here's a Connect card, fill this out. It's like you could have a QR code for that.
Exactly.
That goes to a digital Connect card.
So much easier.
Way easier. And then for the offering,
yes,
have a QR code that people can scan to give online.
It's just more convenient for people.
It's so much more convenient. especially if you don't carry cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what about after the service?
Ooh, good question.
When everyone's like mingling,
Yeah.
how can you bridge the digital and physical then?
Well, you could create a digital photo booth.
Oh, fun.
Where people can take pictures.
Okay.
And share them on social media with a specific hashtag.
Oh, that's cute.
And then what about tablets or kiosks where people can sign up for events, volunteer opportunities, or even join a small group?
So it's like digital sign-up sheets.
Exactly. I love that.
It's about making things easier and more engaging.
Yeah. And then, thinking about accessibility.
Yes.
How can we use technology to make sure that everyone feels welcome?
That's so important.
Yeah.
Well, churches can make sure that their websites are accessible.
Okay. Using things like alt text for images and keyboard navigation and then closed captioning for videos is huge.
Oh, yeah.
For people who are deaf or hard of hearing.
So important.
It's about making sure everyone can participate.
Yeah. So it's like technology can really help us create a more inclusive environment.
Absolutely.
But it's not just about the tech. It's about the heart behind it.
Yes. It's about creating a culture of inclusivity.
Yes.
Where everyone feels valued and loved.
And that's such a good reminder because I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like the tools and all the bells and whistles.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's about people.
It's about connection and building relationships.
Yeah. And using these tools in a way that actually supports that.
Supports the mission.
Exactly. So I think that's a perfect segue into part 3.
Sounds good.
Where we're going to talk about the bigger picture of all of this. How does this actually help churches fulfill their mission?
Right. What's the ultimate goal?
And what's the impact?
I'm excited to dive into that.
Me too. Okay, so we've talked about QR codes and landing pages and data and like all these different things. It seems like there's so much potential for churches to connect with people in new ways.
Yeah, it's exciting.
But I think it's important to like step back for a minute.
Right.
And ask, like, what's the point of all this?
Yeah. What's the goal?
Yeah. Like, what are we actually trying to achieve here?
I think that's a really important question.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get caught up in the
shiny objects?
Yeah, the new tools and the tactics.
Yeah.
But we have to remember why we're doing this in the first place.
Right.
Like at the heart of it.
Yeah.
It's about connecting people with God.
Yeah.
And with each other.
It's about building relationships.
Yeah.
And helping people grow in their faith.
Absolutely.
So it's not about technology for technology's sake.
Right.
It's about using these tools intentionally.
Yes.
To further the mission of the church.
I like to think of technology as like an amplifier.
Okay.
It can help us reach more people.
Yeah.
Share our message more effectively. And create more opportunities for connection.
Right.
But it can never replace the core values of the church.
Like what?
Compassion, service, fellowship, discipleship.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
Yes.
Between innovation and
Yeah.
the things that have always been important.
The timeless principles.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think discernment is so key here.
Absolutely.
Like just because a tool exists doesn't mean we have to use it.
We have to ask ourselves, does this align with our values?
Yeah.
Does it serve our mission?
Will it actually help people?
Exactly.
And I think it's important to remember that this is a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Like technology's always changing.
Constantly evolving.
And the needs of our communities are changing too.
So we have to be adaptable, willing to experiment.
Keep learning.
Yeah.
So I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Okay.
Think about your church. What's one creative way you could connect a digital interaction with a real-world experience?
Wow, that's a good one.
Like maybe you put a QR code in your bulletin that links to a devotional video.
I like it.
Or a prayer request form.
Or you could do a social media challenge where people share acts of kindness.
Yeah.
And then maybe that culminates in a church-wide service project.
It's like taking it offline.
Yeah, bringing it full circle.
I love that. So remember, it's not just about using the tools.
Right.
It's about using them thoughtfully.
What message are you sending?
Yeah.
How are you making people feel valued and connected?
And I think ultimately, it's about creating a more welcoming and engaging experience.
Absolutely.
For everyone who walks through the doors of your church.
Yes.
Whether it's physically or digitally.
That's the goal.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been great.
I hope you've gained some valuable insights.
Yes.
And some practical ideas that you can take back to your church.
I think we covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
So now it's time to go put it into action.
Exactly.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
So start experimenting.
Yeah.
innovating,
and see what works.
and most importantly,
Yes.
have fun.
Absolutely.